Every pregnancy needs utmost care and attention. But certain pregnancies need a little extra attention. An Rh negative mother carrying an Rh positive baby is at increased risk of complications. BSV is at the forefront to ensure safe delivery in every Rh negative pregnancy.
Welcome everyone to the mid-match show between Australia and South Africa, the first game for today. South Africa have put on board 271 for 5 in their 50 overs, led by half centuries from Wolvaardt and Suné Luus. And yes, what a finish it was, 43 runs of the last 4 overs by Marizanne Kapp and Chloe Tryon. I am joined by Dani van Niekerk and Julia Price with me. Dani, happy with that score? 271 looks like a good score on that track.
Yeah, it was a very impressive performance from the South Africans. I'm not going to lie. I'm very, I sat there and thought it's close to one of the more complete batting displays that South Africa has had. And, that's what they can do if they, if we have a top order in. And I mean, I have to give credit to Laura again. Somebody doesn't want to stop her at the moment. And yeah, Suné, the captain, she's just getting better and better by the game. Striking at 100%. She came in and she really took on the game, and she I think it almost caught the Aussies a bit off guard, in my opinion. I don't think they expected Suné to come in and strike it as quick as I guess they would have thought. So no, I think for me personally, just watching it looked like a very near complete. You can't always be perfect, but near complete batting performance from the South Africans.
Near complete batting performance. I'm going to come to Julia. I'm going to ask her, is that the near complete worst bowling performance from Australia till in this tournament at least?
Yeah, it wasn't amazing. They didn't get off to the best start, but a bit of credit to South Africa. I do think they changed their tactics a little bit. We were discussing just about Lee, just giving herself a bit more time, and I think that really helped stabilise that top order. It put Australia under pressure. They started to not necessarily panic, but they switched around their bowlers a lot. And again, it's about executing. It's about cutting off those singles. It's about trying to get the batters to hit where you want them to hit. And I think, South Africa did a great job of attacking the bad balls, still being aggressive, but not going into gear 2 or 3 way too soon. So I think they were much smarter about how they went about their innings. Obviously, they didn't lose. The first wicket was, after 88 runs, which is a great opening partnership. It's absolutely smoked what they've been doing up until then, and that was certainly their weakness. So they've addressed that, which is great. Still a little bit of a problem with that number 3 spot. They haven't quite nailed that down quite yet, but maybe they should give you a call, Dana, and have a chat about Luus going up the order. She was amazing today, really, really good. And I just didn't think any of the Australian bowlers, other than maybe Jess Jonathan, I thought Annabelle Sutherland bowled pretty well as well. And she, again, didn't finish. She only got 6 overs, 1 for 26. I'm not sure why she didn't come back on to bowl. And Alana King probably didn't bowl her best either. I don't think her tactics were too good today. She just was swept out of the game. She didn't know how to deal with batters that were coming in and sweeping her. She just didn't have a clue what to do. So, so I thought South Africa, amazing. And 8.6 in the final 5 overs. Why isn't Tryon up the order? She should have come in before Mignon. Really. I mean, you had 7 or 8 overs to go then. And she goes at that, sort of whack, and Cap as well, beautifully batted. I just think, and no offense to Mignon, but in that situation, you got to drop down the order. You got to get your hitters and your finishers in there. That's what they're there for. And Mignon can be in that number 5 position for maybe when there's a little stumble in that sort of 30 to 35 over mark. But to me, they just missed out on maybe even, going bigger than 271.
I think so. Julia is more or less finished off what I was going to speak for the next 20-30 minutes.
Sorry.
So I don't have any other pointers left. So I will have to take one each pointer and then discuss on that. Let's talk about that Australia bowling. You see, three bowlers have completed their 10 overs. But the rest of them, if we see, it's very much scattered. I can understand Elise Perry, she has a sore back, so she was not there on the field. We hope she is good so that she can bat at 4. But the rest of the bowlers, Annabelle Sutherland bowled well. King did not look good, but if we just go by the figure, 7 overs, 1 for 35. McGrath 4 overs, none for 29. I don't really understand why Australia has been chopping and changing a lot, because this has happened many a times, and this does not lead to good results always. And when a side like South Africa comes up, they will tear you apart, and this is what happened today. Julia, can you just give us a sense about what happens? Because Australia, we've regularly seen they change a lot in their bowling. It's continuously chopping and changing, even if you're doing well, even if you're not doing well.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a little critical of this the whole time through this tournament. I just feel that they're trying to create the wicket too much as opposed to just bowling in good areas, controlling where the batters are hitting, and let the batters make those mistakes. I just feel that they just keep chopping and changing, and bowlers need to they need to have a bit of rhythm. They need to get into a game as well, and it's hard for them to be swapping ends all the time and chopping and changing, coming on for one over here and there. And I know you've got to be adaptable, but at the same time, I feel they're just really trying to force the wickets, where if they just sort of maybe tightened up, and they did for a while there, obviously they had when Alana King and Ash Gardner and then Jess Jonathan all came on, they really squeezed it. They're going for 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s and over, which was way better. And that's when something has to happen from the South African batters. To me, they're just trying to find that miracle ball that they're going to actually get someone out, as opposed to maybe have the batter getting themselves out. But there's no shame in doing that. That's also part of the game, is just to be smart and frustrate the batters and also get them out that way. So to me, to wrestle back the game, not by taking the wicket, it's more about wrestling back the game by tight economies and putting the pressure back on the batters. It's no different to if you're a batting team and you just try and slog your way out of a rough patch. It's about working your way through it. And I think at the moment they're slogging their way through a rough patch with their bowling. I feel that they just need to keep those when they've got tight bowlers on. So I mean, we had Annabelle Sutherland went for 7, but then she went 1 for 5, 1, and then she got taken off. And I'm like, oh my God, she's just started to put the squeeze on. She's really bowling well and tightly. And then we didn't see her again. The same with Alana King in her first spell, 3, 1 for 4, none, and 6, 1 for 13 off her 4, taken off. Like, I still think maybe that sort of disrupted her rhythm a little bit by getting changed and taken off, because she's a wicket-taking bowler. And I just feel that they just need to stay in their spells for longer periods of time if they're bowling well, because that keeps that pressure on the South Africans and oppositions. And they've been guilty of doing this quite a lot during this World Cup.
They've been guilty of doing this quite a lot in this World Cup, and probably that's going to be the reason why South Africa is going to beat them today. Let's see that batting scorecard, because that is where the majority of the action that happened. Lizelle Lee and Nora Wolvaardt started off really well. The first wicket fell for 88 for 1. That was Lizelle Lee at 36. Kind of very much settled. Goodall came, but Goodall went. So it was like a 30-run partnership there. But again, a major partnership happened, and this is what regularly is happening. Laura Wolvaardt and Suné Luus, I don't know how many 50-plus run partnerships they've had, but certainly many. And are they the best partnership in South African cricket at the moment is going to be the major question. And the way Marizanne Kapp and Chloe Tryon finish. Yeah, of course, there are a lot of talking points there about that South African batting. I'm going to start with Danny. That opening partnership finally came up. None of the partnerships till now in the World Cup crossed, I think so, 30. This was the 88-run partnership. Both the openers looked really good. Lizelle Lee started off a bit slowly, but Laura Wolvaardt was there to say that, oh, okay, boss, I'm here. I'm going to be that consistent key. I'm going to play really well. But Lizelle Lee finally came into that little shade of hers.
Yeah, look, that's what we've come to know from those two. They've been a very formidable opening partnership for South Africa for quite a long time. And it was weird when they didn't score and they didn't get above 30. It was almost like you felt like there was something missing. But I mentioned in the pre-match preview that you can't keep a good player down. Yes, she maybe didn't get a 50, but it was just good to see her take her time. It's almost like she listened to Julia and just I don't know if she had a earpiece in, but she just took her time a little bit more. And, that's what South Africa needs. And it sets up the game so well for that batting lineup, especially, the batters coming in later as well. It just gives them the platform and the freedom to actually express themselves.
Express themselves. And that another partnership, Suné Luus and Laura Wolvaardt, is that the best partnership in South African cricket at the moment?
Well, they're
Yeah.
certainly batting really well. Oh, sorry, Julia. I'm just really impressed by them.
You keep talking your team up. It's all good.
No, please go. I get excited when they've been batting really well.
No, but they have been. I think they're fantastic together. They seem to complement each other. They have different styles. Laura Wolvaart's very traditional, and her approach doesn't really sweep a lot. Where you've got Suné Luus, she's out there playing all the different shots. So there's fielders running everywhere. It's challenging bowlers. It's challenging captains. It's a really nice partnership, the two of them. So I think it's that's why we sort of keep wanting to push her up to that 3 so that she's in there a little sooner.
A little sooner. Let's talk about that ever so consistent Laura Wolvaardt. I just read some stat. 12 innings she's played in World Cups. 10 times she scored above 40 plus. This particular World Cup, this is her 4th consecutive 50 plus score. How consistent can you be? And what, she's less than 25? I just feel like I have done nothing in my life when I see Laura Wolvaardt batting. Julia, what do you feel gets the best out of Laura Wolvaardt always? And in such a world stage, you have 40 plus scores, 10 innings out of 12, just so consistent.
Yeah, well, she's joined Elise Perry and Shamari Adapatu as the 2 others that have also scored 4 consecutive 50s in World Cup. So that's elite company she's got right there with some amazing batters. But yeah, I was listening to an interview and she was just saying that, when she's trying to do schoolwork or university study or whatever, she just can't really get into it. But when she's batting, it's just all about batting. That's all she thinks about. And that's a perfect zone for a batter to be in, not being distracted by anything that's happening around her. She's not bringing any off-field stuff into her, the way that she goes about her batting. She's solely focused on making runs. And you can see that it's a good practice, and we need probably more of it around the world to keep our women cricketers continuing to improve. And Laura Wolvaardt at such a young age could teach a lot of the more experienced players about how to go about building her innings and then starting to accelerate and really forming partnerships. She's been unbelievably good, and I think just that one-mindedness and her ability to have a very clear plan in her head about how she's going to be going about scoring the runs, I think, is setting her apart from anyone at the moment.
Very, very. The only word that comes to me is, say, genius or talented. You can just put as many adjectives in front of Laura Wolvaardt as much possible. Danny, you've watched her from close quarters. We know she's also doing a medical degree, or she was doing a medical degree. How can you be so good at everything that you do?
Well, that's the $1 million question, is it not? How can you be so good? She can sing. She's smart. She scores runs for fun. But if I want to be overcritical, she can score century now. I said to her the last game, because I phoned Marizan and I saw her on a video chat, and I said to her, can you just get the 100 now? I'm bored with these 70s and 90s and stuff. And she said, no, she's itching for that. So I'm sure she's obviously a bit upset with going out in the 90s. I'm sure she really wanted to get that milestone. But you know what, credit to her as well. She could have easily just gone about her business, getting ones and getting that 100. But she wanted to push, the run rate, and she, probably played a shot that she probably won't play all the time, especially with 2 people out. She's smarter than that. But again, credit to her. She's definitely a team player, and she wanted to, just push the run rate a little bit, and unfortunately got done there. But yeah, no, the $1 million question: how can you be so good at everything? I don't know. I don't have that luxury.
I'm just waiting for June when South Africa take on England in that test match, and I would glue to my TV just to see Laura Wolvaardt batting the whole day and probably never get out, because in a 50 or a 20 over game, you just have shorter amount of time. In a test match, you love to watch Laura Wolvaardt bat. Coming from Laura Wolvaardt to Suné Luus, we saw different Suné Luus altogether today. She's been batting at whatever a 70, 80 strike rate, a comfort zone of hers. But today it was 100 plus striking. She knew the opposition. She understood it very well. She took on the bowlers at the right time, did not really make sure that she wanted to hit it around the park or something like that, but she was very consistent. Julia, do you feel the difference in that mindset? Because the 4 games that we've seen Suné Luus bat and this particular game, she's been very consistent in terms of the runs that she scored in the tournament. But today was a different Suné Luus altogether.
Yeah, well, I mean, she came in sort of midway, and I think she knew they were in a pretty good position. And this is exactly what we've been asking for: is if you get that really good start, then you just free up your sort of middle order then to be able to play those shots and come out straight away. It's clearly a much better pitch than Australia expected. They chose to bowl first, and I hear that South Africa were going to bowl first as well if they'd won the toss, because I think everyone thought there was a bit in it. So the good thing for Australia is maybe it's not as many demons in it as they thought, but the way that Suné Luus came out immediately, as did Marizanne to a degree. She was probably a little slow. She probably gave us 6 balls, which I love about Marizanne. She knows her game as well, and took her time. But really, everyone was pretty much able to go nearly from ball 1, which shows that pitch is a fantastic pitch. So this will be an interesting run chase.
Interesting run chase. Let me cap it off that particular innings by just asking this very important thing. I don't understand that after 35th over, if you have lost your 2 set batters, why don't you send out your hard hitters? Why don't you send out Chloe Tryon? Why don't you send out Marizanne Kapp? What was that sending out Mignon Dupree? We know she's not in form. She's not your hitter. And you have whatever 10, 12 overs left. Why don't you send out that particular? Why didn't South Africa change that batting order is my question, Danny.
Yeah, look, when Mignon came out again, and not taking away from her ability, she's an incredible batter, but yeah, she's probably not in the best form. Got out to a specky, let's be honest. But yeah, I was very surprised. I was actually a bit frustrated when I watched it, because I'm thinking Chloe is there, Marizanne's in very good form. So yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if it. I think, yeah, in a way, the leadership kind of failed it a little bit there, because I think that is a conversation that should be had. And yeah, as Julia mentioned, that would have been maybe the difference between 290, 300 if Chloe came out a bit earlier, or Marizanne for that matter. So yeah, I don't know. I wish I had the answers. I really wish I had the answers. But yeah, look, hopefully South Africa learns from this, and in the next game and leading up to maybe the semis and hopefully the final, that they learn from this and maybe implement it in the next games, because we've been asking for a couple of games now, haven't we, Julia?
Yeah, absolutely. And it was the 43rd over when Mignon got out. So to me, I thought that was, when she came out there. So I thought that's a perfect job. That's exactly what Chloe Tryon's role is. And I think we go back to those roles. Mignon Dupree's role isn't about being in that finishing role so much as when you've got 2 people sitting there that can finish the game, more so, where Mignon's role is that number 5 and slotting around and filling in spots. She didn't need to do that today, so that's why it was just a little odd. Not taking anything away from Mignon, because she absolutely has a role in this team, but just in not this scenario. So yeah, it was a little bit of a. Hopefully, it doesn't. Well, from my point, I hope it does come back to bite you a bit, but And this could have been, that 300 score that South Africa really needed to make it, just put it out of Australia's reach.
I just hope that they drop that number 3, push everyone up the order, get a bowler in there for the next game. Probably that's the thing. And let's come down to that chase. Australia are going to chase 272. It's not going to be easy. South Africa are the best bowling unit there. 272. Julia, is going to be an easy chase. They did chase 277 very, very easily.
Yeah, and I would have. I'm certainly not going to be easy, but I think if they actually take a leaf out of what South Africa did, again, Alyssa Healy, she's just going to do what she does, and she's actually in form, so she's probably in a slightly different position than Lizelle Lee was, where she had to sort of get herself a bit of ball on bat and start getting into her innings. But the bowling quality of South Africa in their power play is second to none, really. And that's going to be a tough ask for Australia. But again, I think if they just maintain wickets in that power play and sort of go about the innings like they did when they chased down their 277 for India, I think that will, make it difficult. I think the pitch is definitely flattened out. South Africa are going to have to be fairly inventive or a lot more patient than maybe Australia were, and learn to maybe bowl, your bowlers that are only going for 2s and 3s, and really get that dot ball pressure piling up on the Australians so that they play a silly shot and get themselves out. So, but I think, early wickets would be the key for South Africa, definitely. But it is possible to chase this down, and obviously I'm cheering Australia on to do that. But I think it's going to be a tight game. It'll be a very close game, last over sort of stuff yet again in this World Cup.
When I see South Africa as a team, I automatically see that it's always going to be a tight game. That is what they have done every game of the World Cup. Dane, who's going to be your pick of that bowlers pack? And do you see South Africa restricting Australia and saying that, oh, okay, we are in the semi-finals, let's fight it out?
Look, it's hard to pick a bowler because I'm a massive fan of all the bowlers, especially the trio in Marizanne, Shibnam, and Aya. So it's going to be good to see. I think the thing I'm more excited is just to see that contest between really quality batters and quality bowlers. It's something we love to watch and see. So I think South Africa's pace has always been a handful, and it's going to be interesting to see how they go about it. So I don't want to pick anyone. Otherwise, I might sound biased as well. So
I'll ask you a different question. I'll ask you, who's your pick of the Australia batters that you feel should not do well so that South Africa can win?
Well, obviously Lanning. I mean, Lanning is pretty good, and sitting here thinking of it, I don't know if they're gonna stay with the tactics of holding her back, because generally in the past they held her back so she doesn't come in with a new ball against Marizanne and Shibnam. So it's going to be interesting to see if they do that. If South Africa, get a couple of early wickets, it'll be interesting to see if they go with the same tactic. But I think Lanning is key in any game for Australia. I mean, her stats speak for itself, and they love a run chase, don't they?
They would rather chase that down. Julia, I can ask you, who's going to be your pick of that South Africa bowlers? They're all really good. Ayabonga Kaka has done well. Marizanne Kappa has done well. Shabnim Ismail, not at the best at what she does, but she's there. You have Chloe Tryon, who's consistently bowling you those 10 overs. Could be a spinner's day. You never know. So, who's your pick of the bowlers? Tumi Sekigune is going to bowl for the first time this tournament.
Well, I'll say what Dane wasn't going to say, and that's Marizanne. Obviously, she's going to be very, very good on this pitch. She just bowls that nice back of a length, a little bit of seam away and in occasionally just for variations. And I think she'll cause a lot of problems. But I also think Kaka is actually going to be quite difficult on here as well. Australia haven't played South Africa a lot, and she's just gone through the roof with her wicket taking in the last 2 or 3 years, and she's been fantastic. So to me, I think Kaka might cause a few troubles today, because Australia don't really know South Africa that well, because they've only played them once. They haven't played them since 2017, pretty much in ODI cricket. So the team's changed a fair bit, and they've got some really good young talent coming through that are improving all the time. So I'd probably Cap as that's a banker, we know that, but I think Ayabonga Kaka should be really good today.
Ayabonga Kaka should be really good today. Ayabonga Kaka is probably one of those bowlers that the Aussies haven't faced a lot, because she has never played the WBBL. Cup, Ismail, Tryon, even Suné Luus have all played the WBBL. So there is that familiarity there. Whereas with Kaka, that thing is there, that she's never played a lot with them since 2017 especially. So that's going to be probably the thing. Let's come down to the predictions. I have a fair bit of an idea where you are going to go, but let's see. Dane, semi-final spot for South Africa?
Absolutely, yeah. I think Safa win today. I have to back the team. I have to.
You have to back the team. You say that South Africa is going to win, take that semi-final spot. Australia are going to lose their first game of the tournament. Julia, do you feel Australia is going to be unbeaten? Is South Africa going to face their first loss today?
Yes. I think that's what you've got to say. You've got one Australian and one South African. This was never going to go any other way. But at the same time, I think it's a perfect challenge for Australia and probably for South Africa as well, because they haven't really they've been tested, but in a different sort of way. So it was great to see them get so many runs against a quality team like Australia. This 1 versus 2 is what everyone's been sort of waiting for. So that's been great. But I think Australia will, like I said, I think it'll be a last over scramble as per usual. And I'm picking Mooney to really get a big score today.
Get a big score today. Dane says South Africa is going to be in that semi-finals today. Julia says no, Australia is going to be unbeaten. South Africa is going to face their first loss, and they will have to wait till West Indies or India to be in that semi-final spot, or maybe just wait for the other results so that they can just say that, oh, okay, semi-final spot is us. That's it for us here at the mid-show. Australia is facing 272. We'll join you on the post-show, the outside view presented by the Women's Cricket Zone and Rev Sports.